Today we're going to talk about the truth, and the truth will set you free. So what is the truth in politics? Some people think it's just a matter of collecting facts, and the person with the most facts wins. But truth is really how you interpret information that is not subject to change when you have new information or new facts. And so the truth really is in you. It's something that comes from your perceptions and how you see the world. And so to get at the truth, you really have to be honest with yourself and not only with the facts. And so how can I be honest with the truth and thereby become freed? For one thing, you have to just let other people believe and say what they want. Trying to censor others really is because you really are applying limited thought. If you are allowing yourself to have free thought, then you don't have a need to control or to limit other people and what they say or how they believe. A lot of what we see in social media today are just people criticizing others for what they believe or what they say that they don't agree with. But you really have to come to your own understanding about the world, and that's how you get to know what is true from what is untrue. And so how can I know something if I'm not really being honest about what I want to know? You have to search deeper. Want to look deeper at things? Look at the Constitution. The Constitution was really the truth about our form of government and the basis on which we formed a union and created our laws. The laws that are of the Constitution are not the laws of the kings, who could simply dictate the law. So the law, according to them, was the law that was the law of the land that would apply to everyone. These kings were called sovereigns because they believed that their laws were given to them by God, and it was through their laws and commands that other people were to serve. Out of this concept is where we got the idea of religious freedom, which is a personal beliefs, and my personal beliefs cannot be dictated by a sovereign authority, not only limited to a king, but to any objective form of power. In other words, a government, any kind of corporate authority cannot dictate to me what I believe or what I do not believe. The laws that I am governed by are the laws of nature or the laws of my conscience or the laws of my religion or religious beliefs, but not by the laws that can be mandated by the state or by the government authorities. Now, there's a lot of misunderstanding about the Constitution because a lot of people lay claim to it. People on the left, they think the Constitution is just to make laws for them. Whatever they believe is what ought to be made into laws so that it would apply to everyone. The purpose of the Constitution is to establish sovereignty and how sovereign authority cannot be invested in a person, a government, or a state. Sovereign authority is only that authority within a individual or an authority within a divine being or whatever you want to call it. Only that kind of authority really has a right or a power over us. This is explained in the preamble of the Declaration of Independence by referring to the inalienable rights that are endowed to us by a creator. So obviously, a king or a secular authority does not qualify as a creator. And not being a creator, they have no sovereignty or sovereign power over us. On the other hand, those on the right, some of them religious right, believe that there's some kind of sovereign authority, sovereign power that is invested in the government or invested in the state, which can be imposed. Most on the right believe that it's states' rights over government rights, and so they want limited government, meaning only that the state should have this authority or power to make laws and to impose these laws on others. This too goes against the principle of sovereignty, in which sovereignty cannot be invested in a government or state authority. And so, why is the Constitution interpreted in all of these different ways, except the ways of the Founding Fathers and the ways that it was written, both in the Constitution and in the preamble of the Declaration of Independence? Well, the reason is because people want to impose their views on others. They want to limit their power to speak and to think as they please. And so what we have to do is we have to have a civil society, a society that allows free speech, it allows free thought, it allows people to think and communicate as they choose to communicate without any censorship at all. That doesn't mean that we have to form a consensus around what other people say or what they believe, or that we have to even respect these different views, or that we have to entertain what other people say. But we do have to realize that people have this right because this inherent right is how they come to their own understanding about the sovereignty that is within them in order to govern their own lives. And so it can't be my authority or an individual's authority, but it's an authority that comes through a mutual understanding that is part of a civil culture and people. People that try to impose their authority on other people, some are religious, but some are not. And so it doesn't really matter specifically what kind of people we're talking about, as much as the purpose and intention of the communication, and how people acknowledge others, and they either permit them to speak their minds and to say as they would, or they try to censor them and in so doing deny them their right to speak or to peacefully assemble. And so the Constitution, when you realize that it's not a biased document, it's a document that gives everyone an opportunity to define freedom for themselves and not to have a rule imposed upon them by others.